$591,859, which included $35,000 in Israel bonds. State donor funds hold $627,466, which includes the same $35,000 in Israel bonds and $51,000 in an account we call door-to-door 2. The increase is generally due to our investments being a bit overweighted in cash early in the year. And so in the recent kind of bond and equity rallies, we've been able to take a little more advantage of the market. Additionally, the fund made its annual contribution, and those numbers I gave you not include the contribution the fund made. The account holds approximately 55% in equities and 45% in bonds, and has income returns of about 2.5%. As the year progresses, the trustees will consider whether the current allocation of the donors fund, which is split between domestic and international equities and fixed income, is appropriate. And we'll have to obviously keep in mind with the volatile interest rates and inflation, but that creates both concerns and opportunity for us. The second fund that we manage is called the Rabbis Fund. The principal's fund will reverts to the synagogue, but the income generated will go to the rabbi. The fund held $245,822 at the end of the year last year. Currently, the fund holds $239,547. The decrease is due to a drop in the bond markets. This fund is more heavily weighted in fixed income than the donors fund, and also has 3 structured notes to boost yield. While the fund will benefit from higher rates, as one of the key requirements of the fund is to generate current income, to move to higher rates is especially painful in this fund. The projected income grew slightly in amount to approximately 3.2% of the fund. The last one is the synagogue fund, and just to remind everybody, this fund was funded through a very generous gift from one of our synagogue members. It's currently invested in 4 underlying strategies to purchase domestic and foreign securities. Last time this year, the total value of the assets in the account was approximately $620,114. Today, the fund holds $665,093. It's approximately 7.25% return, and does not include, again, an annual payment that goes to the synagogue for operations. This funded principal is a little bit more restrictive, so it gives us an opportunity to invest in some more illiquid investments that have a higher return profile. Of course, we'll continue to monitor that as the temple needs change, so we'll tailor our investments that way as well. That's all for the report. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
Do you use any kind of ESG, environmental, social, or governance screening?
No, we don't.
That is a common trend in synagogues and churches.
Yeah, we have not adopted an ESG strategy.
That would be something for the board to look at.
I think that, for one of the funds, the board's fund, certainly.
Any other questions for us? Thank you so much for your report and all the hard work you have. Next, we have Jay. For work on building and administration.
Good morning. So I'm happy to report the state of the building is in good condition. As Julie had mentioned, we have a number of new things that have happened in this calendar year, or not calendar year, but this religious year. So obviously the new Solomon Terrace, which Julie has talked about. For those of you in person, I think you've all had a chance to see it. If you came in the side door, please go out and see it if you haven't. For those online, if you're not comfortable coming in yet, please drive by and look at it. It is really, really beautiful. And we've had a number of events there as well, and we'll continue to hold a number of wonderful events there. In addition, Julie mentioned in the foyer, we have new furniture, and soon we'll be having a coffee service there as well. So for the parents, when you're coming in with your children, and you can drop them off, you can stay and have a cup of coffee instead of having to rush home and then rush back and do all that extra driving. A nice little sitting area to sit and schmooze and talk. Additionally, for the winter this year, you may have noticed with a little bit of snow that we had, those who came in, on the roof, both the garage roof and also the roof in front on the terrace, we put in heat strips. So that will help diffuse some of the ice and hopefully prevent the ice buildup that we have every year on the front of the building and keep it safer for everyone and help reduce the risk of anyone falling. And then the last thing we've been doing is working on our ongoing HVAC program. As you remember, I spoke about last year, we'll be revamping the HVAC system. It's a three-phase focus, and the first phase should be beginning in this spring. That's all for the building. On the state of the administration, the other role of mine, I'm also happy to say the staff is stable. We have obviously Charles as our executive director, Sheila in the office, and Patricia helping with the financial, Simon as our maintenance manager, and Rosie who cleans in the evening, and Wes running things in the kitchen for anything we have. That's all. Thank you very much. Yes, question. The question was about the railings. Yes, we had some issues with the railings in the fall. Because of the winter, they'll be coming in the spring. So that's on the ramp, and then on the north staircase on the terrace, we will be having railings coming in. Good question. Thank you.
I'm going to be reporting for Suzanne and all of our wonderful programming. We have a lot of programming and we take pride in all of the programs that we have and how diverse that they are. Our continuing programming has been University on Monday nights, Rabbi's Thursday, the Rabbi's Thursday class on the weekly Parsha, Torah Treasures, Rabbi's meditation session on Sunday mornings, musical Kabbalah Shabbat, and musical Shabbat morning. Special programmings have included prayer, big ideas of Jewish prayer from Rabbi Blitt, personally connecting with Jewish prayer, David Schwartz, prayer for Hebrew by Courtney Harris Black, and prayer through music with Cantor Figa, on addiction with Nina Henry. I'm not going to read all of the programs that we've had, because as you can see, this is about a 10-inch font and a list of a full page of listings. But what I'm going to do is pick a few. We've had a men's circle book, we had a men's club book circle, we've had social action programs, we've had a program on Jewish intermarriage in the 21st century, we've had celebrity chefs, we've had Jewish Broadway, a tour of Jewish India, Israeli art, a Baptist show barbecue, open house, Chicago art and architect tour, wonderful walkers and lockers program. We've even had karate at the show. We celebrated Tu B'Shvat at Thatcher Woods, Forum Carnival with rapper Ari Lesser, of course our Congregational Seder, Shavuot with Oak Park Temple. We've had a little programming minion in the western suburb. There was a shofar walk in the park, cooking with Leo Koenigs and Code Dessert, high holiday workshops and Torah celebrations, Hanukkah celebrations, and all sorts of other programs. And I want to thank everyone involved, the Rabbi, the Cantor, congregants, the committees, and Suzanne for putting all of this together. Our next report is going to be Mike Weinstein, Vice President of Religious School and Education.
Yeah, I was just wondering if what's going on with the collab? No collab this year?
Repeat the question, please.
The question was, what's going on with collab this year? And frankly, I don't have an answer for that, Charles.
So I made an inquiry to Pearlstein about whether they would be available for us as quick as possible. And they actually have not responded to me yet. So I'm going to keep trying and see if we can possibly do something maybe at the end of March. We might still have time to arrange something for that time frame. So it is a definite maybe.
So, do you think that the time frame from hearing from them will be like, do we need to nudge them?
Well, I
often?
need to nudge them every day.
Okay, if you need help nudging them,
Okay.
they're nudge.
Okay.
Everyone's out, it's one of my strong suits. Peter isn't even chuckling. All right, Mike.
Sorry. Thanks, Drew. I'm here to report on the religious school, led by our wonderful Principal Schwartz. I want to, not that I would forget, but first and foremost, I want to thank all of our hardworking teachers who were the core of this program. They work tirelessly every week, meeting with all of our students, and of course, David, who as Julie said, is part of our great programming involved with religious education, not only our students, but also adult learning too. Regarding the religious school, a couple of facts. David gave me some statistics as they're currently right now. We have 64 students. We have 3 families in discussions. To add to those numbers, we have 6 teachers. We have 21 madrassim. We starting the Hebrew high school year kind of chronologically, some things we've gone through, some things you may have familiarity with your own children. But we started the year obviously Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. We had Camp Shana Tova. We had about 12 hours of programming during that. Moving forward, Sukkot. We had hot dogs in the sukkah. One program that we instituted this year is we paired some of the older students in a mentoring type of role with the younger students, and we have our enormous first and second grade classes here. We have about 15 students, and we have the older students mentoring the younger students with reading every week. So that mentoring program has gone on for a while, but we've really kicked it into a higher gear this year. We're also restarting as we come through COVID. We've reinstated our sharing Shabbats with the Grace Lutheran Church and our grade level services and dinners. And of course, all the preparation for that is led by our wonderful Cantor Figa, works tirelessly with all the students, preparing them for that event. We are restarting the junior congregation that's led by our high schoolers, again, as role models. And we are beginning to move through that this upcoming year also. We have a new Hebrew enrichment program on Sundays that we're looking at beginning after the Hebrew school on year end. So we'll have that as a continuation. So even though Alice Cooper would say school's out for summer, we would still continue that education process throughout the year. Forum's coming up. Forum's a big time. We're going to have all of our kids involved in the process as far as hands-on making hamantaschen. They'll be performing a forum spiel. Of course, we'll be making Mishlanach Manot and creating Matanot Levianim, the canned food sculptures. We'll be reading from the Megillah, and we'll bring in Braggers for Good. We'll also be, one thing we'll be moving towards the end of the year, we'll also be piloting some family education programming in the upcoming, the second half of the year, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, everything is going amazingly well. If anybody has any questions, yes.
Is there a USY program?
Youth program, we do not have currently a USY. We don't have anything designed. We have, I know we've had programming. We've talked about it as we've come through COVID. That's definitely something that we're going to reignite conversation about this upcoming. Thank you for the question. If anybody has any questions on education in general, we have just, you can type the word education at West Suburban Telephone Zion and ask your questions. we'll be glad to answer those. Thank you.
Let's switch to mics.
Amy Grumlick will be up next to talk about our preschool. Did you hear me okay?
Yes. This is better now.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this as fast as I do the Hofstra. We're gonna move this along. So as you all, oh God, my voice is so much louder than everybody else.
We changed the mic.
What?
We changed bikes.
Oh, I know, but still. Okay, so as you all know, we have a new preschool director, it's Claudine, and so I'd like to thank her because things have been going really smoothly, which is a nice change of pace from the last couple of years. We've also had significant help from Bev Applebaum, who's been an absolute wealth of knowledge and very, very supportive and helpful as we're making this transition and having Claudine be new director. So she's been fantastic, so snaps to Bev. We have 3 classrooms compared to when we had 2 during the pandemic. They're doing well. They are fully staffed, which that alone is amazing because we used to be having staffing crises and trying to find teachers, and it was very, very difficult. In order to get staff, obviously you've heard that the salaries have gone up, which is appropriate, but obviously does sort of take a hit to our financial bottom line. The teachers that we have are fantastic. We also have an assistant for Claudine, who's Garen Siegel, who works in the office and the classroom. The programming has been very, very well attended for the preschool. We just had a preschool Shabbat not this past Friday, the Friday prior, and we had something like 75 people show up, which was amazing. Lots of families, lots of participation. Everybody seemed really genuinely happy, and that really builds a community. So that's sort of part of the building blocks here as membership. We need membership to grow. We had Havdalah last night, which was also really well attended. There's lots going on. There's new families joining through the year. Every few days, I'll get a text from Claudine saying another family joined or another family's looking, like 2 people who just signed. So that is a continuing process. We have enrichment back. So during the middle of the day, the 3 to 5-year-old classes, they'll get my gym, or they'll get Hebrew, or they'll do science, which is my gig. That's my contribution to the preschool, aside from this. And it's been going really, really well. There's a new parent committee meeting, which is headed by, the chair of it is Teddy Fireberg. She's doing great. Just a plug for that. If you ever had kids who did attend the preschool, or if you liked kids who attended the preschool, or if you just have a wealth of energy and you really need a place to put it, anybody is welcome to join the preschool parent committee. So feel free. It's the second Monday of any month, 6 to 7 p.m. right here. What else was I going to say? So as far as finances, we talked a little bit about the teacher salaries, which are higher. It's inevitable. Food costs are higher, but the main revenue drain is really the teacher salaries. We also have lots and lots of grants that were applied for and approved in 2021, which there's nothing coming in for last year. So that's a big negative also. Overall, our enrollment isn't too different than it was pre-pandemic, but the costs are higher. We do have more room for kids based on student to teacher ratio and space by DCFS, but we kind of pride ourselves in smaller classroom sizes. So this is the time of year that we're in the process of reevaluating tuitions, doing local comparisons, and we're doing a peer review of tuitions to prepare for the 23-24 school year based on that. Otherwise, I would just be happy to say that everything is kol tov, everything looks good, we're stable, parents are happy, kids are happy, teachers are happy. So I would say overall, that's a win.
Oh.
Yes. Are we advertising? We are advertising on social media. So we're advertising in like local moms pages and email blasts and with Facebook. So the places that moms look, we're advertising.
And we have ongoing relationship with care.com.
Right, we do have an ad on care.com, which is like a site where parents can look for like nannies and places, and sometimes preschools, to look for places to have their kids. I don't know that we're getting
No,
too
no,
much.
this is the
The
care.com.
preschool one?
Most of our referrals in the last 6 months have come through care.com because they have a part of, they have a.
They have a platform for preschool?
So when we were trying to recruit families and get enrollment up, we started subscribing to a service called care.com, which many people know in terms of like local babysitting, but they have a completely national platform that's designed to help people find preschool, other kinds of schooling, all kinds of arrangements that have to do with childcare at any level. And it allows them to do that if they're planning to move. So if they want to know what's happening in River Forest for preschool and they live in Florida, they can look that up and they can actually take an online kind of guided questionnaire, which decides whether we're a good fit for them. And if they sort of pass that questionnaire test, then their names are forwarded to us. And if they want to arrange for a tour, all of that is done through the electronic platform. So all of the new students that we have gotten in the last 6 months have almost exclusively come through that care.com arrangement. So that has paid off for us. And now we're also starting to see a little bit more of the word of mouth as we're getting more enrollment, and also as parents start to talk to each other and confirm that the faculty is stable. And that was a big issue for us last year.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of months, the majority of, or at least half the families have been local referrals. You know, either the teachers referring, the parents referring, or so care, I think, was good as like a boost. And now we're hopefully sort of self-perpetuating. Any other questions? Okay.
You are much taller. Thank you very much, Amy, for that enlightening report. Karen, are you on Zoom? Karen? Okay, well, membership, as Amy and Charles noted, most of our membership is coming and bubbling up through direct contact with the rabbi, talking to families, meeting families, and also coming to the preschool, because once they come to the preschool, they love what we have to offer, and then they tend to stay. So I'm happy to report that our membership is slowly but surely, family by family rising. We don't have a huge surge, but we are not down pennies. So we are sweating up, and I think that is all good news. We're going to turn over the meeting to our wonderful Vice President of Fundraising, Larry Scott.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to start off with some good news. I'd like to announce that there's an $11,000 gift to the synagogue from the Carol and Herb Gretzky Trust. There are actually two gifts. One gift is for $1,000. It's earmarked for the Rabbi Victor Miramon Education Fund, and the other $10,000 is for general use of the synagogue. And I actually have with me the trust receipts so that we can get them signed by our president. And I even brought at no extra charge my notary seal so we can get these things signed and notarized and out to the trustee, who actually, by pure happenstance, I went to law school with back from 1982 to 85. And I had lost touch with her, but she reminded me we were law school classmates. So it's a very nice thing. As far as specific proposals for fundraising, let me just say that we had a number of initiatives that were really spearheaded by Jackson Cohn. I was actually the assistant vice president of fundraising. There is such a thing. And Jackson Cohn did a number of initiatives. I want to say thank you to Jackson. He is relocated to Canada. So I'm stepping up from assistant to full vice president, I suppose, of fundraising. I look forward to it. As far as initiatives for this coming year, I have 3 that I'm thinking about. One, when the weather walks up, when the weather warms up rather, to have a fundraising walk. I think that would be relatively simple to put together and we can get that done. Number 2, I understand that we have a beautiful Torah scroll from the Solomon family, and we would like to dedicate portions. And I think if we do some dedications, that would be a good fundraising tool. My wife has asked me to remind everybody that there might be fundraising opportunities from something called planned giving. I don't know all that much about planned giving. Barb Young, I see you're shaking. Maybe you can help out with that, although I know you'll be busy in your role. So with those things, with the fundraising walk, naming opportunities and planned giving, I think we can raise some substantial funds for the synagogue. I look forward to working with everybody. And when the meeting is over, I'm going to corner Julie. We'll get those documents signed. I'll notarize them. We'll get them to the trustee.
We also have our 75th anniversary coming up, so we have 2 years worth on there.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. And if somebody would like to volunteer for the fundraising committee, you know, a fundraiser of one isn't, you know, if we could maybe establish a fundraising subcommittee, I would love to have that done.
That's done in the past by kind of talking to your friends and trying to make them help you.
Okay, well, my friends in the room are on Zoom. I look forward to working with you, Cindy. Okay, that's really it for my report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions about fundraising?
Okay, thank you very much.
I think that we'll also have Forum Carnival is a fundraiser that will be going on to the religious school, which is something separate than what Larry's fundraising responsibilities include. And then we're hoping the preschool will have something like we did years ago, and that was a rummage sale, which raised quite a bit of money. But anyway, moving along, I'd like to welcome the rabbi to give the rabbi's report.
Good morning, everybody. I was thinking when Larry was talking about with Julie finding a subcommittee, I once was talking to a lay leader, he said that the question is always, okay, you want to do this, well, who's your minion? Who's your minion of people who help you, support you, will be there for you, who will be part of your task? But what I'd like to share with you this morning are a few images. One of them is from this year at High Holidays, walking into our beautiful tent that was right over there. And thank you to the Gilmers for making that possible. And I went there to give my Dvar Torah to the junior congregation. And I stepped into the tent. It was amazing to see. There were a huge amount of smiling faces looking back at me. Really, one of the biggest groups we've ever had there. It makes me think of another event that we had, a congregational barbecue over the summer, where suddenly we had this wonderful multi-generational group of attendees. There were lots of little kids running around being wild, and there were long-term members, and everybody was talking and sharing and being together. And it was just a lovely feeling and a good barbecue too. Or coming right here in this room on Passover, just after Passover, we had a Grammy Award-winning artist and had a room full of people swaying and dancing and enjoying themselves and smiling and happy. Or, as was mentioned at the Hanukkah celebration that we had, the workshop, not so long ago, where there were 120 people who came in and out of this room for the workshop, for everything that happened here. Or just last night was other Hollywood Havdallas with kids and their families, and our tireless executive director, Charles, bringing couches up to this room and people just enjoying themselves and making this their home, everybody smiling. And I remember that one of our first Hollywood Havdallas last year, we asked everybody to be in pajamas. Mainly it was the kids, but there were a few parents in pajamas too. And a lot of them were new families, but who've been forming bonds. And there was a family that I'd never seen before, who just turned up, but I have seen them since. And that's the good news, is that people are coming and enjoying what they're experiencing and then coming back. Another image of joyous, happy, smiling faces, some of our longest term members dancing at musical Shabbat, just enjoying it and saying, this is what I needed. And then seeing dancing moves by some new middle-aged members who are there with their grandkids, who are also dancing, and the cantor and myself dancing together to our musical Shabbat. So all of that to say, I think that we are fulfilling our mission. We're fulfilling our mission to be here together for simchas, for joyous events, to bring laughter, and we're also here to be a place of comfort and of consolation as we mourn together and experience the sorrows of life. And so we are a vital congregation. We're a community that is a living Jewish life with a lot of spirit, and that is wonderful. And so today membership is in a place of opportunity and of steady growth. And all those smiling faces I've been talking about, they're interested in us. Some of them have joined, some of them are thinking about joining, others are in the process. And that's a really good place to be coming out of the pandemic. And I just heard a few weeks ago of one of the flagship conservative synagogues in the Chicago burbs that over the last 3 years lost a quarter of its members. So we're in a good place, so we're steady and rising. That's a good place to be. We're up, there's a buzz. But for our membership to really go up, we need to take it to another level still. And we need to keep continuing to connect to our members and to those families who are potential new members. And part of the work that we're facing at this moment in time is that many of them are not familiar with Hebrew services, Hebrew intensive services, and didn't grow up with the kind of religious school education we have that's very structured and offers so much. And so we need to create bridges and to help them feel at home with what we're doing. And this is why Claudine, our wonderful new preschool director, and David, our talented religious school director, myself, are working on creating a bridge between preschool, between being interested in coming to programs for young families, and then committing that this is going to be your home for the next decade, 2 decades more, to raise your kids here, to have them be mitzvah here, and to really make this your spiritual home. And so one program that we're beginning to explore is called Family School. And that's a school not only for the kids, but the adults, the parents will come, and either they'll pray together, everybody is a group, and Sunday morning the religious school starts, or they'll also be learning and opportunities for them to connect and to grow in their Jewish lives as well. And we're also trying to create a whole, we want them to feel ownership and part of this community. So we're also creating a lay-led service, so we led by some of this big group, supervised by the cantor and myself, of course. But we want them to create those lifelong bonds with our community. And that's what it's really about, creating lifelong bonds with this community. Because once you express joys together, or maybe even more once you grieve together and been supported together, and this becomes your home. And so we need to expand our membership. We're doing it, but we need to keep expanding our membership. And to do that in a major way, one of the major things ahead of us now is to improve our marketing. And so that night of musical Shabbat, the first musical Shabbat that I was talking about earlier, we're seeing grandparents, and everybody was just enjoying it and loving it, and it was such a great experience. And for some of those members for whom musical Shabbat, that's their thing at the moment in the community. But I was looking out and there were 30 to 40 people there, but there should have been 100. Because of the quality of the music, the quality of the spiritual experience, there should have been at least 100 people there, and there should be every time we have musical Shabbat. And so we have this challenge, which is how do we get the word out there? And I think it's not only a challenge for us, but we're living in a post-pandemic, a world of Zoom, a world of social media, a world where we all get so many emails, the decline of newspapers and of the regular places where one used to advertise. And so we need your help. How do you get people's attention to try something new? How do you get somebody's attention to come to an event when they're being, when they receive so many emails every day? What's the best strategy? And what are the tools? Or if anybody can think of an example of an organization that's doing this well, they feel, of drawing people, doing good marketing. We really want to hear your input. So right now, we handed out pieces of paper, and on the pieces of paper, there's 2 places to write a few ideas. And if you're online, please send us a prepared email at this very moment. We really need your help. And many of you here are board members or about to become board members, and we really need everybody's help, your participation, your contribution. And even if you're not a board member, a synagogue, what's a synagogue? A synagogue is a group of members, a collective coming together to work together. So as you please think about and write down one idea for membership, how to bring members here. You can think, is there a person who you think could be a potential member for us? Write down their contact information. Or is there an event you think we could have that would draw members, or something that would entice prospective members, or something you love about the shul and think could be a point to have on our advertising? The other is marketing. What works for you? How do you get drawn to come to an event? Do you have any expertise yourself you're willing to offer to us to help fine-tune the strategy, or simply one idea? So please go ahead. If you have a pen and paper, please go ahead and write something down on a piece of paper. We handed them out. Try and think of one idea for membership and one idea for marketing. Because you can have the best, most inspiring program in the entire world. But if you only have a small group coming to it, then you're not succeeding in what you're doing. We really need your inputs, because really you are the best resource of the congregation. You're our collective wisdom and our collective knowledge. So everybody, please try and think of one idea for membership and one idea for marketing. So I had another moment earlier this year. It's been talked about before, but I really want to bring it up again. That's our beautiful new Solomon Terrace, and wow, how beautiful it is. And a moment that many of us experience at first being on that terrace and thinking, this stone is like Jerusalem stone, and this really is just a beautiful place. Whether it was at our musical Shabbat there, or Simchat Torah, when we left the room with the Torahs and went out there to continue our dancing, which was so fun. Or Sukkot, and that feeling of renewal, that's what we're looking for, that feeling of renewal, of a new space. And that literally renewed the key element of this building, of this space. And thank you to the Solomon for their wonderful generosity with that. We're also musical Shabbats that we've been talking about, and we get such amazing responses from the participants. But we also have this group of talented artists and musicians, and they need to put food on their tables. And so those are expensive. This year, we're very grateful that we had a matching fund challenge that went out that was proposed by the Rubenstein and Friedman family. And I'm really pleased to announce that a few weeks ago, we met that challenge And now musical Shabbatot are going to be funded for the next year or more. And that's such a blessing and gift. But we have many other programs. We have many other potential events, and they all need the funding and the financial help of all of our members to bring into reality all of those plans and to really keep taking everything we're doing to the next level on this wonderful upward trend that we're on. And I'm so grateful to everyone that's been willing to pledge their resources to be part of this work. And I'd like to encourage anyone who feels passionate about anything, if it's one small thing as part of everything we do here, to try and support that part of the amazing work. And so finally, I'd like to conclude this one final story. And this is a story of a now member who came to a holiday event last year, because this is what Jews do on holidays, and maybe we all feel the voice of guilt when we don't go to those holidays, and just to enjoy the meal and see people. And somehow, something was kindled for that person at that event. Something happened, and it was transformative for them. And they decided for the first time in decades to join a shul, and to join our shul. And in fact, they're here with us today. And this is what we're in the business of doing. This is what we're in the business of doing. And all the rest is to support that and to kindle those feelings for all of us in those moments, those unexpected moments that we all experience through life when we really need support. And those moments where we're joyous and sharing a life event with others. And that one place where Judaism and spirit and our identity, our Jewish identity, is the center of our relationships and of our conversations and of what we're doing, of our community. As it says on this very building, the verse from prophets, not by my might nor by my power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. So this is what it's about, the simchas, the life moment, the joys and the sorrows. So I'd like to invite all of you to join us and to help us and our incredible lay leadership led by our president, Julie, is taking on the 4th year of giving of her efforts and time and energy and talents, and be an active member of our growing community. Boker Tov, thank you for being here.
Well, went fast, but this will be the beginning of it. Is that right?
Well, when you started, you had 2 good meetings.
I don't know how many years I've been doing this, but it's all been good. Now I would like to report the slate of officers. Usually I'm going to have Jim Zucker report the slate of officers and board members. I have a copy of it here for you. You have a copy of it as well. And then you can proceed with the election. You don't need my copy. Thank you.
The following is the slate of officers and board members for the 2023 year. The Executive Committee, President Julianne Gelder, VP of Administration Jay Michael, VP of Fundraising Larry Stark, VP of Programming Barb Young, VP of Membership Monica Garcia Norlander, VP of Preschool and Early Childhood Education Amy Garalnik, VP of the Covenant Religious School and Youth Program Mike Weinstein, Treasurer Ed Schmidt, and Secretary Shirley Lee. The following is the slate for the Board of Directors: Elizabeth Berman, Art Fireberg, Suzanne Fournier, Joey Gardner, John Henry, Jennifer Levitt, Jane Mendius, Sarah Ruman, Rafa Shayani, Jacqueline Shea, Carol Solomon, and Frank Bozak. I need a proposal to vote for that slate. Anyone? A motion to, the motion to approve the slate, second. We have a couple seconds here. All those in favor of the slate of officers and board members, please say aye. And those on aye. Okay. Any opposed? Congratulations, folks. You are now on the board and the executive committee. Thank you very much. Continuing with that thought, I'd like all those who have accepted this honor to read the pledge for the board of directors, the officers of the congregation, as well as the officers of the endowment committee. So I will read it out, and please read along with me.
Does anybody need a copy still?
Give folks a second. We accept our office as an honor and as a trust, as a sacred obligation. We stand ready to serve for the betterment of the Jewish people and the wider community, consistent with the mission of Westminster Temple High Zion. We accept the sacred responsibility entrusted to us. We ask for spiritual strength to administer the affairs of the congregation with integrity. May we help our synagogue to strengthen the ancient and heritage ideals of our people and of our tradition. Thank you again. And welcome aboard the board.
Thank you very much.
One last one.
Acknowledge the meeting.
Yes. Or did you want to? Okay, you?
I'd like to also acknowledge the leading the members leaving the board. And the executive committee, Jackson Cone, Jill Dempsey, Dale Brown, Courtney Harris Black, Ted Lawrence, Irene Morgan, Karen Rashes, Ed Sachs, Frank Bozak, Sue Lee Wild, and Michael Dumont. Next. Make my concluding remarks. That is to thank you.
The position.
Those of you who have agreed to be on the board, I know some of you, it took a little arm twisting, and I do appreciate it. Those of you whose arms I twisted personally, thank you. It means a great deal for me to have everyone on this board. The board works hard to maintain the temple and continue its wonderful offerings. And we have call home. And now we have these wonderful places within our synagogue that we can sit and enjoy and come to enlighten ourselves in spiritual ways, religious ways, through friendship and joyous occasions. I'd like to ask the rabbi to come back and join us and give his comments and a prayer for another successful year.
Amen. The blessing is said, many conservative synagogues, whenever they welcome in the new board, may the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, and hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter
the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. What does Adonai our God require of us? To revere, to love, to serve with all our heart and soul, and to keep the commandments and statutes of Adonai. Our God and God of our ancestors, bless the leaders of our congregation with wisdom, vigor, and understanding. Sustain them with your spirit, with your light, and with your truth, Adonai. Grant them friendship, that their labors be a blessing and a source of blessing. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabbi. I would like to have a motion to conclude the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second. Me. All in favor? Any opposed? There's generally no one opposed when I try to end the meeting. So thank you all very much for joining us, whether in person or online. And again, this is how we continue to have our children to such a good time. So thank you to everyone. Appreciate it.